Hey everyone. So we have a ton of ground to cover today. What transpired in the market today? Um, Yesterday we obviously reversed from what happened yesterday. We'll start there. Okay, so we're going to have to cover that at the end of this video. What I'm going to cover is I'm going to cover the Nasdaq, the S&P, the IWM, XLE, which will be energy, the financials, and the stocks. I'm going to cover that all at the end in one fell swoop. So if you want to fast forward, someone will probably timestamp this and go there and have an actual game plan for what you have to look for tomorrow, especially with the VXX. So tonight what we're going to do is get into actionable ideas, things that are at key levels, particularly ones that people were interested in because they have a position or they think it could be moving. So we're just going to jump right into it. As always, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. What we're about to go over is extremely timely. So, it doesn't help you if you're looking, you find this video 2 weeks from now. It's not going to have the same value as it's going to have tomorrow morning. So let's just get right into it. So ABCL was the first one, and I'm going to leave RSI up today just so people get more familiar with it. This had exceptional relative strength today, considering to the absolute carnage that went out on there. Today they threw the baby out with the bathwater we lost the transports. We lost, FedEx, Lowe's, Home Depot, all the commodities got hit. We talked about this in the newsletter. Pardon me, got my coffee. So we're in a position where everything's getting thrown out, which is, people don't want to hear this. It's actually good because there's no safe havens anymore. So let's just wash this out. And what's in it, what reason I'm bringing this up right now is this ABCL. And we're also going to do Bitcoin and Ethereum tonight solely because of what's happening there. But let's just get into this here. See how you broke this, right? But you still are just above there, but look how you are here. So you're above these, right? So this is actually now above. Let's just walk through it so you understand where we're at. So for those that understand RSI, this from here, and then this is lower, but this is here, which is a little higher or just in line with that. So this is a positive divergence. This is telling you you're going higher. Okay, that's the first thing. We don't even need the moving averages yet. Then we can come here, and we have a little base here, don't we? So in other words, I have a little bit of a tightening, or what some people would refer to as an asymmetrical triangle or wedge. And I just broke to the upside very quietly on regular volume, not huge volume, not really what you're looking for. Is this actionable? In this kind of tape, these are fading. So the probability of this working right now is not great. What you're seeing is you ran right into the 50-day and you're a little bit above it. I would say this. Tomorrow, if you really want to play this, you have a huge base here. If you really want to play this, and I don't believe you have earnings risk right now. I believe the earnings are out. You have to double check that before you buy it. But I would look for a break above $31. Okay, a break above $31. I could see how you would be interested in this because once you break this base, there's no resistance on this side until you get to about $40. So I could see why you'd be interested in this. AMC, I've been talking about for a long time, and I'm going to get rid of these indicators and these lines. Look. We still are at this line and unable to break it, right? No matter how many times we try, I keep saying 1024, 1024, and we just keep closing on it. And what you really have to watch with this, the trouble with this, and let's blow this up. Let's pull this over. See these wicks, as everybody knows what these wicks are that's been following for a long time, or a long time. We've been doing this for a couple of months. But what you're learning from the wicks is that is price rejection, right? So that means that up here, nobody wanted to buy. So why do I want to buy? I don't. If no one else wants to buy, I don't want to buy. Why? Because I need other buyers for demand. So it's very clear I got nobody here. Very clear I got nobody here, right? So just be careful of this level. Now, if you really get technical, like super technical, right, you could say that this is starting to form. Okay, let's just do it this way because I think this is more important. But you can see that, right? Now, if you get crazy and you say, I'm just going to use the closes and the opens, right? And you say, I'm not going to use the wicks and just use where price was accepted, not rejected to draw your line. You're right there. the problem with this is that you have to understand which one's more important. From a trajectory standpoint, when you're this far out, I like using the wicks. Sometimes I'll use the closes, but I'd rather use the wicks. So to me, really, where are we trying to get through? 1089. If I can't get through 1089, I don't have an interest right now. But you are holding this downward trend, and you are trying to get above this 50-day, but you're just not able to. And the RSI is pointing up, but it's not giving us any more love. It's not giving us any more detail. So now if we go into the weekly and take a look and see what's going on, these are pointing up, RSI is doing nothing. And so, it's just boiling down to, and we're going to have to get rid of this RSI for a little bit so that we can blow these charts up a little bit more on your screen. Some people use mobile phones, it looks like, or mobile devices. So let's get the full picture of this. And then I'll throw in the RSI when needed. I can pretty much tell when it's needed by looking at a chart. You really just use it when it's basing. It doesn't really help you much when you're trending. So you see what's going on here? Like you have this little reversal on the weekly, and then you're trying to get through, but you cannot get through this level, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So 1024, close above it, and we're golden. I really think you'll get to this 1089. I think people have thrown this company out, and they're crazy. This is ARK, and we're going to start on the weekly with this one, ARKK. And I have been batting this around on both sides, frankly, instead of just using the Qs or the TQQs because of what's going on right now. But if you were to look at this, and this was anything else, okay, and this is your weekly chart, and you have 2 days left. Now I'm going to tell you what I think happens later this week. But I just want to just go through this just so you can understand and wrap your head around this. You wouldn't care, right? It doesn't matter if this is widgets, if this is Amazon, CCIV. It doesn't matter, if they sell mangoes or they're a $1 trillion company. This is the chart. This is what you got. There's no other way to say it, right? So you have to look at the cards that you're dealt and then figure out what you're going to do. If you're looking at this and this is your weekly, you've just broken major resistance, and here's your H, right? Remember those lowercase h? There it is. This is not something that you're going to be running into a burning building to buy. So what do we do about it? Well, it doesn't mean it's over because today's Wednesday. We have Thursday, Friday, so we really can't look at that chart. What we can say is this. Okay, I've been saying 91 target, and then yesterday I said I think we bottomed. I do feel that we've bottomed a little bit, and we're going to get into this a little more. Just because we bottomed doesn't mean that we're not going to go down anymore. It just means that we're getting to that point where we're probably going to see a little bit more capitulation or a leg down, and then that's going to be it. No one's ever going to pick the bottom. And some people will stay on the sidelines and trade like that. I don't do that. I trade. So it means that my accuracy will be less during these periods of time. Nothing wrong with it. If you want to stay on the sidelines, stay on the sidelines. I choose not to because you can make decent money buying these. Now, what I will do when we're having times like this that are very difficult is I will change the size of my position. It could be that, just to give you an example, let's say I was going to buy 10,000 ARK. Okay. I might buy 1,000. I might, instead of buying 10,000 shares, maybe I'll buy 1,000 shares, right? I'm just giving you numbers. I'm not talking about my position sizes because it's irrelevant to the conversation, but you could just cut it in a tenth. If you're usually buying 1,000 shares, buy 100. Okay. And it's entirely up to you. But I'm going to sit on the sidelines until I know what's going on. Well, we never know what's going on. That's insanity to me. But I understand that if you are constantly trading and you're constantly losing money and you don't have a system in place or processes, and you don't want to death by 1,000 cuts, then get out of the way. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with raising cash. It's good, but I like being active and staying active. You had a great solid bounce off this line, but we really didn't undercut this double, right? So I think that we might have another push down here. I was on both sides of this today, just trading it. The question is, what do you really do with it? So to me, longer term, I think it's a buy. I think the thoughts of her demise are a little crazy to think that it's over. But from where you're at now to where you are here, you can clearly see that this 200-day is rolled, right? This is not going to fix itself anytime soon. This is going to take time. And every rally now is going to be sold. So every stock that she owns is going to be hammered, right? You have to understand that. They may rally and go up. Like I put Planter in the newsletter because of the break. It held up fine today. It didn't break or stop, but we're down 7%. My price was $19.50 to buy. I was very clear, don't chase it. But what do you do now with this? You got to wait for this to rally up here if you're trying to look to sell it, right? If you want to short it and you're not going to be active, you have to let it get back to the 200-day in this line. If you're not waiting for that, then you're just throwing darts at a board and hoping for it to wait. Now, if you want to trade it and you're looking to just day trade it, and I'm not a day trader, but right, I mean, people feel that way when they talk to me. My goal is to try to get in things and ride big moves. There aren't any big moves to the upside right now. They're all short term, bob and weave, and I take what I can get. I don't take what I want from the market. I take what the market will give me, and I learned that a long time ago. There is an enormous difference. So let's just go through, and just so you understand what transpired today, okay? This was the 15-minute, right? So off of this bar here, I actually went long within the first couple minutes. And let me just show you how I did it, just so you guys are understanding this. So hold on one second. Okay. So let's get to this. All right. And we're going to scroll here and we're going to bring this back. There's your open. Okay. You open at the low and then you tick above it. That's all I needed to see. That was it. And I took a shot because I'm like, you know what? This could gap fill. You know what it did? Look at what it did. It gap filled to the close. Essentially, it came to the bottom part of this where I had a trend line already drawn. I mean, you saw that I did not just put that trend line there, right? I mean, it's been there. So what happened at that trend line that we had drawn? It rejected. There's really nothing else more that you need. You don't need moving averages. You don't need your RSI. You don't need your special clouds or someone telling you what the MACD is doing. You'll need to learn how to read price and pattern recognition. And then you could see that this is a rising wedge, and you could see that you hit the top of this peak, right? So I was trying to make this a fast one tonight, but I just feel like there's so much to learn right now. So maybe it's going to go a little longer. But you see this? Like you can see you've reversed right on that line. I mean, what else do you need? So at these levels, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know it's going to go to here. I really don't know that, right? But once it goes here, I'm like, okay, I need to limit my risk. So I sold half and I'm like, you know what? My cost wasn't right here. I think by the time I got in, it was like 104. So, but I said, you know what? When it breaks this, if it breaks this, I'll just cover it because I've made money on the trade and maybe it'll cut back down and come back up. See, it's not just trading the stock. It's the money management of the investment that you made. So no matter what happened on this today, I wasn't going to lose money. If it ran, I have a position. If it comes back down, doesn't matter. I already have a gain. So no matter what happened here, I was going to win minus it just stopping. So what does that do for me, right? It broke here. That was it. Boom. I went short. Covered and went short. That was it. Trade, right? Comes in, comes down, reverses, cover half, move the other half to a break even, stopped out. That's it. Out of the trade. Made money on both sides of that today. Just doing something simple as reading price. So, just consider that. Consider when I show you how to enter these things, you don't have to do the trades, but if you're trying to understand it so you can even get in for a longer term time frame, next time you buy a stock, just look at it during the day and say, oh, I wonder if I did that, if it would have worked. And I'm going to do this. So what do you do with ARK now? Now that I've given that huge dissertation, you can't do anything with it on the long side. I mean, unless it gets hammered. And I'll get into this now. I think that we come in tomorrow, and I think we rally possibly on Friday. I want to go through this really quickly on Bitcoin because this is really important. What's going on here? Okay, there's a differentiation that people have to start wrapping their heads around. Okay, is this inflationary or not inflationary? Is it an inflationary hedge or it's not an inflationary hedge? Okay, the answer is it's been going up because it's an inflationary hedge. If we don't have inflation and they're not going to do anything about it and we don't need an inflationary hedge and lumber prices and commodity prices are going to come in, what theoretically should happen to every hedge? They should come in. Okay, so what you see happening here, okay, and this is important because you are in an uptrend and now it's changed, right? So this is why this cross is important. This cross is important because you are in an uptrend. You follow me? Usually if you're just basing for a period of time, doesn't matter. But you have been in an uptrend and now you're rolling. So I just want to get this point across, not so that I can deal with a billion people that are going to tell me that I don't understand the future and everything else, but just so you understand what's going on here. Institutions are selling this. It's having a hard time staying above the 50-day, and you need to be aware of that. And now it closed below the 21-day for a period of time after here. So we are rolling, and we clearly rejected this 58.5 level. What does that mean? Well, just look at this for a moment so you can understand this, because it is kind of important here because the trend is changing. So, and if someone could be kind enough, someone usually does, but if somebody could put on the timestamps, that'd be great. I don't know why I have two of them here, but let's get rid of one. We'll get rid of the darker one. Okay. So see how we're kind of rolling here? We can't get above this 58.5. Look at this trend line. Okay. We've broken. So realistically, you're seeing a break here. You also have this, and we've been talking about this negative divergence since back here, right? You can see how it's been going higher, but these peaks are getting lower, that negative divergence. And that's right here. And you can see it. I mean, this is not great news. I would not be surprised to see this come back down and retest in the 40s. Whether or not you want to buy it there or not is entirely up to you. But unless some news hits or someone's going to make a huge investment in this, I expect this to get weaker. And we're just going to keep everything in order. So CCIV, we had this in the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, it's free. Links in the bio and in the description. And I just want to go over this with every EV company. Understand something. These companies, they are all going to go back to what the private equity level paid for them. That's $15. Why is that? Because any private equity firm that still has any stock left that they're able to liquidate is going to get out there and they are going to capture that spread. So you have a built-in seller in these, okay? Meaning if they can hedge it in any way via buying puts, putting collars on the trades, selling calls, all which cause downward pressure, they're going to lock it in. If I'm a private equity person and I paid $15 a share and I'm at 1750, 1777, right? You still are up 20% on your investment. The majority of people are not up 20% on their investment. Okay, so that's why I keep saying with these names, especially like EV, I was asked about Highland tonight, Fisker, all of them. Okay, if they are not making money right now, I don't care if they're talking about being in production, but if they were going to call pre-revenue, which is a company that doesn't make money, okay? There's no revenue. If you have no revenue, the differentiation between being here where you priced and being here, okay, is just a percentage. That's all it is. It's nothing more. I don't care what they make. I don't care what they do. They're not driving revenue. So if you're a private equity company or you have a private placement, you're going to sell until you get to these levels. You guys should be seeing this, and ladies should be seeing this across the SPAC market. You're seeing that decimation across the SPAC market. And those sellers, they're the institutions that are in from where they bought. So just keep that in mind. Doesn't mean that it's not going to work, but to think that this isn't going to 15 and the others aren't going to go back to their prices is frankly delusional. It will happen. And you can mark my words on it and timestamp this and put it to it. I've seen it before. I watched it happen in 2001. It will happen again. So this was nice, right, on CELH. And what I liked about this today, and I don't really need the stochastics right now. I'm sorry, the RSI, it's not doing anything for us. Let's get rid of that. So here's CELH. Okay, we had a nice rally the other day. What happened? Okay, and write this down and just remember this. Look for stocks that didn't make a lower low today. Go through your charts, all the ones that you're super interested in, right? And make a list of the ones that did not hit a lower low today. That's your first spot where you should start looking, okay? Because the NASDAQ hit a lower low, and we're going to get into that. See, like crowd, I don't know why I got this up here twice, but CELH, is it actionable? It's sure getting there. You know, we stopped, we opened right here. We didn't come halfway down. You know, I'm going to just get this part of it out there. I think we're setting up for a down day tomorrow based upon what happened with some things that I'll show you. And I'm going to show you how to watch tomorrow what's going to happen. So that you can learn it a little bit better as well. So crowd, sorry, I just went off on a tangent, but I thought of something that would be very helpful. Crowd. So here you are, right? You're downward. What happened today? Hardly anything versus the move. Now you may have bought it here, yeehaw, I'm buying it here. And then it comes in here and now you're having a bad day. But really what happened today? Gave back half the move. I'll make money and give back half the next day all the time, right? You'd be loaded. So just let it play itself out. I threw this in one. I don't know what this does, but I did think that the relative strength of this was really fascinating. DAVA. Look at this little wedge you have here, right? And this is really usually where this is a tell. And it's one of the things we'll go over here. And I'm going to just throw a lot of knowledge today because I got some emails from some people or some tweets from some people, and I was a little shocked at some of it. So let me just go through this. Here's your open. So you open that day, right, on the bad day, yesterday, come all the way down to the 50-day, bounce off the 50-day, go through the 21, clear the open. As people know, boom, that's your trigger to buy, okay, if you want to buy. One thing you could use as a trigger. And what do? We go right back into here. Okay. You come in today and you go up. Now, I just want to point this out. If you are looking for a strong relative strength symbol, look for stocks that hit 50-day moving averages, bounce off them, and take out new space, either a new high or break out of an area. That means increased demand. You can see the increased demand for volume, but this means nobody's getting out as well. So this is very interesting. Now, if you look at this, and again, I'm not familiar with what they do, and before I would invest in it right now, I'd want to make sure that they're not in the wrong industry with the way the market's trading. But if you truly looked at this, when you break out, I mean, you're looking at least 12%, at least. And I think this goes a lot higher, frankly, just by looking at it. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, you're going to go, right? You're looking at about here. So you're looking at about a 15% move off of this base, right? If you just stay in the channel. So I would definitely be looking at this. And really what you're looking for a pivot at this point is just clear the wick. So 92 3/4, $93. But this is very interesting, whatever it is. ENPH, I wanted to show because I was asked about it. Look, you're below the 200-day moving average. It's really very difficult to buy stuff that's below the 200-day moving average. I can't be any clearer about that. You have to be really careful. Like really careful. So, because it can rally up and then just reject because you have sellers now. So I like this action. I'm not going to tell you that I don't. You went up and then you held today. But unless they have some news coming out of fundamentals, you're really going to go from here and you're going to trade to about 138. So if that's what you're looking for, like a trade to like 132, 133, you might get it. But this 21 might catch up with you ahead of time. See how it's respecting the 21 on the way down? So that might catch up with you. So now we're going to do Arete, and I'm going to do it through the grayscale. And this was one that, we played with in the newsletter and we really didn't capture much of the move at all, frankly. We just got stopped out like over here when it reverted back into this downward trend. And then boom, it broke out again. We just didn't buy the next breakout, which is really what we should have done. But 24.98 from here all the way up, this thing is just off to the races. And I think that this can continue. I pointed this out earlier when you can see these lines here on the weekly on this. And I really believe this. I really believe you're setting up for a 67 on this. These gaps that are going on, the way this volume is increasing, there's a couple things going on here. People want to own cryptocurrency. They don't want to spend $60,000 to own cryptocurrency because they don't understand cryptocurrency. They'll spend $3,000, they'll spend $4,000, but they're not going to spend 60. Right? That's a big number to middle America. It's a big number to anybody if you really think about it, right? $60,000. Like, you don't know anything about it. You don't know how to get it. You have to put it in a special account. So here they can go out and go, oh, we can risk $4,000 or $5,000. Let's give it a try, honey. Maybe it'll work. You know, the other people bought Bitcoin and that went up tenfold. So that's how people are thinking, and just keep that in mind. But you're just breaking every level here and just keep going higher. So I would expect this one to kind of buck the trend. I don't believe people are buying all cryptocurrencies with an inflationary risk. I think that the story of stating that with Bitcoin is going to turn out to be a mistake to think of it as just a hedge. I think that marketing and the way that people have gone about it's going to be an issue. Fudu, you know, we've been in and out of, and this I don't need anymore. Look, this is nasty stuff, and this is not going away. Okay, you are below the 21 and the 50, and you're rolling. And now you have, see how we saw Crowd and how Crowd hardly went down on today's news? Look what happened here. Not only did I open right at 126, I'm at 109 by the end of the day, but look what really happened. I rolled so hard, right, that I took this whole bar out. I have a bearish engulfing and I'm here. I would not be surprised to see this, pardon me, stock gap down tomorrow and for this to continue. And so really what we're looking for is you'd be looking for like a 74, 78 level. If you break 100, you're going to 74. I mean, this is not something that you buy. This is, if you're in this, you need to get out if it hits a lower low. There's no reason to be in this. None. It's completely shattered and rolling. It can't be any clearer. So GE, you know, this is from that candlestick video. Let me get rid of that. Shows how often I've been looking at this stock. Look, I wanted to go over this just to point this out. When they throw the baby out with the bathwater, and that statement means everything gets hammered, and we're going to go through like the SPYs, the Qs, the IWMs today. Reason I bring that up is nothing is safe. A matter of fact, the stocks that are in the SPY have more probability of going lower now than the NASDAQ stocks. And you saw that today, the panic, get me out at any price. And that's what we saw. So this is rolling. So if I just bought this in the past week, and this is what I'm dealing with, my advice would be to sell it and move on with your life, because this can get really nasty really fast. It'd be nothing for this thing to go back down to 10 bucks. Nothing. And I know you don't see that, but you have an extremely tight pattern here. And these are two lines. They're starting to point down and roll. So I don't even need to use RSI. I mean, I can tell you what, just by looking at it, that this is setting up. Okay, so just be really careful if you're in this, and I would not buy it. So this is an interesting pattern that we're seeing throughout cloud, and they didn't really go down today, right? Look at that. We really didn't go down today. So I don't know that you have to run into this right now. What I would do with net is I would just wait, give it a couple days, let it consolidate and build here. I wouldn't touch it, even if it breaks out. The only way that I would truly buy net is if I got above the high from yesterday, right? Which was 71 3/4, so $72 if you really wanted to buy it. You've been basing so long, if you go back to here, right, for 6 months, that these moving averages are pretty, immaterial. Planter is one that we put in the newsletter in 1940. I called it out yesterday on the move. Traded up to 2068. And like all the others, we came back down. We need an 1850 close to get out of it, and we are at 1888. So we're not out of the trade. I'm not crazy about the action today. There was no follow through whatsoever. It's extremely disappointing, to say the least. And I think I was pretty clear that you need to do not chase, simply wait for weakness to add. So I could see someone adding to it today, but if you hit this stop and you close below 1850 tomorrow, you need to get out. Now, it can easily go to 1850 tomorrow and then trade back up. I personally, I'm going to get into it in a little bit. I personally think that you're going to sell down and then rally either later Thursday or Friday. That's my belief, but we'll see. It depends how much selling comes in. Now, into P-ton, the Peloton, I'm still short. I shorted more of it today. I had a small position and I covered when we got over the higher high, and they just lured me out of it. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. I cleared. You see how this bar right here is 92.02? When we went over that, 92.59. I mean, there's really nothing else more to say. The market maker got me. And, I closed that position. I've been shorted since up here. And I've been in and out of secondary positions. I'm still in a bear flag. And today's action really confirms that this thing has issues. So if I take out a lower low tomorrow, if you take out 86 and 50 tomorrow, this short's on. Like, this is going to get really ugly. If I don't take that out and I stay up here, eventually I might run up to the 21 day and test that. And I'm not going to want to stay short that. So I'm going to have to watch the action tomorrow. But before I would add to the short again, I want to see it break 86.53. And then I would look at it. And if it's a gap down tomorrow, huge gap down, I would wait. RBLX, people are kind of happy about the move today. It didn't go down and it held this trend line. Okay. I mean, it is what it is. You closed here. You opened here, and now you opened above it. I mean, the gap down, the hold through the trend line, let's just see what it does. I mean, I said this yesterday. I'm not crazy about this move. You are still above the trend line, but I'm not crazy about this move. I would not chase the stock. If I was in it, if it closed below today's open, I would be gone. So Roku, look at the volume that's coming in this, right? Huge volume. But just price rejection at the end of the day, right? Look, see how it just couldn't stay up there at the end of the day? Just constant selling. This was at 321 today, close to 307. That's what type of market you're in. It's just, they are just selling and selling and selling. And that's what's going on here. So just be aware of that. I would wait on that. I like that trade a lot. Let me go back to this. I jumped the gun here a little bit. I like this a lot. I like the way how it hit this lower low, right? Higher low. And I like that. I like when it does that move on a 200-day moving average, because that means it's respecting it, moving up. And this could be setting up to move. It's just that we're just not there yet with the volume. So, you have to look at buying on the support levels and the dips in this kind of market. And we're not there. Buying the breakouts is not working. So SE, you've rolled on the 21, you've rolled on the 50, and these are going to continue to roll. Now you have a trend line that's here that you've broken. You tried to get above it and failed, and now you're breaking down again. We opened in the middle of the bar today, and we did nothing but sell down all day. So if I take this low out, right, technically, if I take this low out, 213, and this one is 212, you might as well just call it 212.50 just to be clear. You take out 212.50, you need to get out of the way because you're going to go to this. There's no support until you get to 197. None. It's a classic short if that happens. So just be aware of it. Snap, it did not take out that lower low, and it's trying to sit right on this level, and we'll see if it holds. And the reason I have this is because it did not take out a lower low, so you need to watch stocks that are doing that. They should be on your buy list for when we rally. And frankly, at this point, yes, you could be looking at shorts, but you really have to start looking at long positions and where stocks are going to go when they drop and where you're going to buy them. You're going through a bottoming process. We went through this once before since the newsletter's been out, and I walked through it. And when it turns, these are going to turn so fast. You have to understand something. Social media and the way that news is propagated now, things move a lot faster. They turn a lot faster, and the moves exacerbate a lot more than they used to. And it's because social media and how readily information is and how fast people can access information. So everybody's moving faster. That's why the corrections are shorter, right? It's why the rallies are shorter. Everybody moves faster now. Everybody thinks they know what they're doing. So, but it's all still human behavior. It doesn't change. So SPICE, I showed this yesterday. I call it SPICE, but SpaceX or Virgin Galactic. I'm sorry. You're above we were at 60. We got stopped out and lost 4 points. Doesn't seem like a bad deal now to lose 4 points, right? So you could not get above support. You rejected. You could not get above this line. You rejected. There's not really much more to say there. So what you need to do is nothing with this. If you are in this, I don't know why. I really don't. And I don't see any reason to be buying this. It was very clear when the insiders like Chobmouth were selling the stock that there were issues here. And it's pretty clear now why he did what he did. I would just be very careful with this. If you can't get above this little line here, or this 17, this could roll and get absolutely hammered. And then you have to watch how we trade up. You got to get to like the 21 to start. And then the 50 is crossing the 200. There's a reason that's called a death cross. So I'd be very careful there. Square, oops, that's wrong. Let's go to here. So Square, what you want to do is when you look at this, right? The easiest way that I can explain this is when you look at this, you need to hold that level. Okay. You must hold this level. If you break this level, 197 is going to be like paper, and this is going to get ugly. And I think this can get ugly. This is a double top, right? I don't have the ability to draw, but I have to ask them about that. I don't think TrendSpider has that ability. Not that I really need it. I mean, you guys get it, but you can see these levels here, right? I have a double top and I'm right against major support. So, and if I break the 200 day, this 197, 96 line is going to be like butter. So be really careful if you're in that. Tesla, well, you're right the 200 day. You're right here again. So there was a trade the other day in it. I really don't view this as an absolute decimation today. You're down 2%. What was the Q's down? Probably more than 2%. Should tell you something about the support line there. So we're going to do this one, and then I'm going to start getting into all the indexes. And for whoever's marking this, it looks like we're on the 35-minute mark on the indexes, but you guys will actually know better than me. So I just wanted to talk about this one for a minute, okay? I know people are in these and they love this tattoo chef, and they're in these SPACs, and I want to hammer this point home because it really concerns me. You know what? I apologize. There's one more thing I do want to go over today. Before that, I want to go over FUBU, UPST. I want to go through those trades and what somebody said so that people understand the differentiation that I'm trying to make. But in regards to TTCF, look, you're riding the 21 the whole way down. Why are you in this? There's no reason. You could literally make a living just selling it every time that it hits the 21 day. So what I would do if I really wanted to own this is find out where the private equity money is in and then put an order there, because that's where it's going. I don't know if it's down at this level. I don't know this one. But this is going to go lower, or it's going at least to the level where the private equity people stepped into it. That's just my belief on this. You can just see how we're just been selling down, and it's almost like they're programmed to sell at the 21 day. So do not be a buyer. If you're in this, consider selling, or if you want to buy it, don't buy it until you find out what the NAV of that is. So I want to get into this really quickly, and I'm only going to take 5 minutes with it. So today I issued a statement, a very blatant statement, very blank and broad statement. You need to look at FUBU and UPST today to understand what the market's going to do. Someone said, I wouldn't look at FUBU because it's in a downward trend and it's not reflective of the market. The reason that statement to me is inaccurate is because the companies that came out with the earnings the previous night are going to have the highest beta, meaning they're going to have the highest fluctuations of the market that day, right? Just like tomorrow, okay, the action in GRWG, who I think came out with earnings tonight, is going to be the action in GRWG. Okay, I think this one did. Hold on. Yeah, this came out with earnings tonight, right? So anything that came out with earnings tonight that's like a high tech stock, yeah. So anything that came out with earnings tonight is more relevant to tomorrow, okay? The reason that I said look at FUBU and look at UPST is because it's really important to see what stocks that came out with earnings are doing the next day. It's a key metric that people are looking at. And we saw what happened here, right? I mean, I bought this. I wound up losing money on the trade. So I think that's very important for you to understand. That is why I mentioned these two stocks. Not so much their long-term trends, but more I'm looking at the fact of what transpired and what are we going to do about it. So in other words, today this ran up here, got through resistance, rejected, and came all the way back down, right? FUBU did something pretty similar, right? And now today, okay, and you're at 1910 on this, right? You came down here. This is not as bad as UPST. Now, why is this relevant? Okay, I'm going to get into that in a minute. But the gentleman suggested looking at path. So I just want to understand something so you guys understand it. And I'm saying it so you understand it, not so you can say, I think I'm smarter. If anyone listens to me, that's the last thing that they should think. You don't even have 30 days of trading. So to say that something, so unless something has 30 data points, right? So like 30 days. There's no statistical significance to looking at it. So here you have like 10 days, right? So there's no statistical significance in looking at this chart to determine what the market's going to do. It tells you nothing. There's no pattern to it whatsoever. Now, I just want to show you the difference so you can understand this, because we're going to view the cues anyway. And let me get rid of this data, and let's get rid of this. Okay, just remember this chart. There's FUBU, okay? There's UPST, okay? So you've seen those two. Just remember this, because I can't put, they're the cues. I mean, you couldn't, they're picture perfect of one another, and that's exactly why I was saying you need to look at those stocks. Remember, tomorrow's stocks, I don't care what FUBU and UPSD do for relevance to the market tomorrow. I care more about the stocks that came out with earnings today and what they do tomorrow. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please reach out, because it's a really important differentiation. So we're going to get into the cues to start, and then we're going to roll through all the indexes and then some sub-index, or then some sectors. So very, very candidly, this was not good. We accelerated to the downside. The red volume encapsulated us. So the bottom that we thought we started to find, frankly, it's there, but we're just not there yet. We may retest this 307 level. We may stop at a myriad of places along this line. But the 5 and the 8 day offer no shelter right now, so there's no point in even looking at them. If you drill into this, which is exactly what I'm trying to do, we're going to get in here. So I open here, or I close here, I open here, okay? And what happens? I close at the low. I see no reason why this is going up tomorrow unless the jobless claims number runs this up. To me, this is going to get smacked. And that's not a bad thing, because they're throwing everything out now. So let's just wash it all out and start setting up. Last time in the newsletter, if you go back to March 7th newsletter, I said we bottomed. We had the rise up, right? Remember this? We had this up. We came down here, and everyone's like, and then boom, we have the breakout. I'm expecting something similar here. And I don't know if it's today or tomorrow or Friday. The way that you got whipsawed today and the gap down today caught many people off guard. So then what they do is they wait for tomorrow to see if it bounces. And you know what happens? It never bounces the way that everybody wants it to, because if it did, then everybody would constantly hold. And the people that are on the other side of the trade know this. So they're going to take it down, right? So when this comes down tomorrow, it could be in the afternoon, it could be during the day. You may see strength tomorrow. More likely, you see things going to levels that don't make you comfortable, that make you feel like vomiting. And Friday, you might see a bounce, with options. And you also had the Qs and the SPYs have their options expire today. So they're funky days too. But so I think there's more pain here. Now, what I liked was this finally broke. The markets, they don't stay divergent from each other long. So finally it broke. Great. Let's flush this out. Break here. Okay, flush through this and let's get it over with. This level here, I think you could hold the 50-day. I think this will be more muted, but I could be wrong. There's a lot of low beta trades that are people have completely got buried in, right? Like I was pretty clear about this, I hope, in the newsletter. Sell the stock. So, my advice was to sell. And I said that yesterday on Tuesday. So, my hope was that people got out at like $44, $45 and made some money. I'd be really careful with the way we rejected this line here. And just be aware of that. So I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but these stocks can get hit. And look, we broke the 50-day. Every single index has broken the 50-day except one. Which one? The SPY. What's going to happen tomorrow? That's going to play catch up. That's going to break. Okay, when everything breaks and your advanced decline line hits like a 9-1 or a 10-1, and you can measure the ADX, but without getting too technical, when you're 9-1 or 10-1 is essentially for every one stock that's up, 10 are down. Okay. When you get to that, you're at a bottom, or you're marking close to a bottom. Why? Because there's nothing left to sell, right? It's not that complicated, but that's what's happening. So the IWM is rolling. Maybe we go, we broke the 218. Okay. We go to 205. Again, if you don't want to trade this, just get out of the way. So the stocks yesterday rallied, and there's our level right there at 383.20. And we hit here, and you opened up, and then you gapped down. And to me, I think you're setting up for another gap down before you reverse. But I think that you're going to have to understand that you may have more pain here, even though we are bottoming. I mean, when I said we were bottoming over here last time, that worked out pretty well. And I feel we're doing that again. But I do think that you have to understand that calling the bottom and saying we bottomed versus the bottoming process are two completely separate things. And sometimes I'll get, aggressive and say we bottomed, that's it. I don't think that we've seen the lows yet. I think we're bottoming, and I think that this provides opportunity to buy. When this turns, you're not going to be able to get in fast enough. That's going to be the problem with it, right? Just like last time, just like when it did this last time, right? You closed here at what was this level here on the socks? You closed here at 376 one day, and you came in the next day, and then you were at 391, right? So overnight, you're up 5% on the socks from the open, and it never looked back. Okay, gave you one more shot here one day, and then that was it. So that's what happens on these bounces, and we're really oversold. I have an oscillator that I use that's proprietary, and we're getting there. Like we're getting to everything's dumpster fire levels. So let's go through this, because this is one of the things, key areas I really want to touch base with. So we said that this 55.50 was more important. You have trouble in the Middle East. You have whatever's going on here with the gas right now. I don't fully understand the issues with why we're having trouble getting gasoline. But what I would say about this is we couldn't get through the 54.50, and we don't have anything rallying us. Like the Middle East conflict's not rallying us. Gas shortages aren't rallying us, so oil can spike. That's not rallying us. And you have your outliners. Like today, there was a gentleman that sent me a thing on rig. He's like, oh, I'm buying, rig. Look, rig looks great. It's up. And it was when it was up here. And my response was, just be careful because it could reverse. And that's what happened. I'm not saying that to say, look at me, I'm right. I'm saying that you need to be looking at the underlying fundamentals of commodities if you're buying those stocks. And that's exactly what happened here. So the XLE to me is done. It's toast. I would stay away from it until we get through 55.50. I would stop buying oil stocks. I'd stop buying gas stocks. I would focus on something like this. Massive upward trend that simply came back down and is looking to correct. Okay. And is going to benefit. You have to, one more thing, because I'm trying to throw too many fundamentals in. Every money market fund is pricing in a 25 basis point move by 2022. There's 100% chance that we're getting one. Okay. What does that mean to you? That means that financials will make more money because the spread between the 10-year and what they're going to borrow at is going to be greater, so they can make more money. Okay. Financials do better in that environment. Investment banks do better in that environment. Commercial banks do better in the environment. Why? Because they can lend money and make more money off the spread. It's that simple. So those kinds of stocks you need to be looking at, like Riley, right? I love this stock. I'm not over this. Okay. We were down here at 67 where everyone was throwing in the towel, and I mentioned it the one day and there was a $1 stop, but there it is again. Okay. So just keep these kinds of stocks in mind. Now, if you want to look at the IBB as the last one, we didn't break today, did we? Okay. It's kind of interesting. Why didn't we break today? We're right on the 200-day moving average, but we really didn't break. So does that mean that the IBB is going to lead us out? I don't know. What looks better, right? This is still higher, but so keep that in mind tomorrow. Maybe if the LABU gets absolutely decimated tomorrow, that might be the one to buy and take a look at. So that's it in a nutshell. I went through a lot, and there's a lot of actionable ideas in here, and there's a lot of process, key levels. I have that email set up now, Arete at aretetrading.net. I am going to start trying to do pre-market interviewing, to get ready for the day, maybe for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. As everybody knows, I trade for a living, so I need to be very focused with what I'm doing. And, please feel free to share this and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I think that I'm going to start doing more and more impromptu, live, when I see something that I really can't explain on Twitter. Twitter gives us 280 characters, right? So it's kind of hard. I'd like to find a place where I could just focus on the people and kind of go from there. I don't know. I keep working on it. Anyway, that's it. Have a great evening, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.